Hello, this session is all about worry. It's something we all do, even I'm guilty of it. I do it a fair bit, and I have to pull myself in and rein myself in to not to worry, and hopefully this session will help you to rein it in as well. Most of what we worry about isn't going to happen. It's all in the future, and it's our imagination that runs riot and makes us fret. Fretting is another thing. It's sort of about worrying about silly things. There are lots of important things out there to worry about. Some of the minor things, they tend to get blown up and do fret about them constantly without doing anything about it. Hopefully this session will give you things to do to help you stop fretting and stop worrying. And I've got my list up here, so I will be glancing at it from time to time because I need a list. I don't want to miss anything off. So what do we do when we feel worry? It makes us feel bad. It makes us feel negative. And I'm always going on about negative feelings, how they're bad for us. But they can get worse and affect us in such a way that we become anxious. And that anxiety can lead to depression. Now that's the worst case scenario, and most of us don't get there just through the old worrying patch. But it can happen because worrying can become a habit. So we want to stop that and try and get out of it. Some worry is good for us. It can focus our minds on things so we can get things done. A little bit of pressure, a little bit of adrenaline will get us going to motivate us to do things. But say if it's too much, if it's on the other end of the scale, it's going to make us bad. So what can it do to you? As I mentioned earlier, it's not good. It can affect you physically if you worry too much. You get lots of worry lines for a start. Those are always bad. But it can affect you physically. If you've got mental pain, it can transfer itself into physical pain. And you get tense, you get your shoulders go up, you can get stiff muscles. Any aches and pains can just manifest themselves because you're worrying too much. And then not only that, if you've got the worry, you've got the physical symptoms to deal with as well. So why go there in the first place? Let's just try and stop ourselves from worrying too much. So worrying about the future, we don't know what's going to happen. We have no idea. We haven't really got crystal balls. We don't know what's going to happen. So we have no control over it, or we think we don't. And our imagination just goes wild. So the best thing to do is to make plans in the form of lists, mind maps, separate the facts from the fiction, actually write them down, get a piece of paper, mark it in two, facts on one side, fiction on the other, and that helps separate out the emotions from what's going on. So you can be worrying about something trivial. What are you going to cook tonight? Because you've got people coming round and you don't know what your guests like to eat. Well, if you've made a plan a few days earlier, you could have planned it out and find out if they've got any dislikes, any things they're allergic to, any things they avoid. And that's pre-planning. Separate the facts out from the future. Facts out from the feelings. You're feeling worried about it. The facts are you don't know what they like. So do something about it. Find out, bring them up. Even if it's the last minute, you can still change your plans. But get the facts. That will help you plan for the future and gives you a certain degree of control over what's going to happen, rather than just hoping for the best. That will let your imagination run wild. So, from the past, if you're worrying about the past, how can you stop yourself from doing that? You take a learning from it. If you've had these people round for dinner and it went all very wrong, and you're worrying about it, that you've upset them, that you've offended them, sit back and learn from it. What's the 1, 2, 3, 4 things, if it's really bad, that you can take away and learn from that, so that next time it won't happen. Put down in a book their dislikes and likes in a notepad somewhere if you keep notes. and just put in a system so that next time it happens, you can go to that book, the file, and bring up what they don't like, so learn from it. So let's take for an example, you've got to tell somebody something that's some feedback, some perhaps negative feedback, point out something that they've done wrong. It's going to be a work situation or a personal situation, it's the same thing. How you're worried about how the other person is going to react. Now you haven't got any control over how that person is going to act. Who knows? You don't know what mood they're in, you don't know what's happened prior to you telling them. Something awful may have happened, something great may have happened, they may be in a bad mood, good mood. You just don't know. So you've got to do your planning to try and deliver that message in the best way. So the way I go about it is the who, where, why, what, when, how. Go through those. So who are you going to give this feedback to? Hopefully it's the person direct, but you could also possibly go through a third person if you really chicken out. But is that the best way? So ask yourself, who is the best person to tell? The person that you need to tell, or perhaps their supervisor, their boss. It's up to you. I know who I'd always go for, but I'm not you. So where are you going to tell them? Are you going to tell them face to face? Are you going to use text, messenger, Facebook, email, phone? There's loads of ways you can deliver your message. Pick the best one for the situation. That's not always the best one for you. You may think, oh, I'll send them a text. I don't have to face to face, to deliver it face to face. That will take a lot of the anxiety off me. But in the long run, is it the best person, the best delivery for that person? Why? Why do you need to deliver this message? Do you have to deliver this message? Or will it help them? Or will it just help you? Is it a little bug you've got that you want to get off your chest? Think of why you need to deliver the message. When? Timing is important. I mentioned earlier that they might have just had some really bad news before you pick up the phone call. You don't know. Timing is crucial. What control have you got? If I'm doing anything over the phone, not necessarily telling people off or pointing out faults and things, I always pick up the phone and say, are you free to talk? And if they're not, say, great, I'll phone you back. That's not the same with a text or a message. But if you're going to pop round and speak to them face to face, or go to the office and speak to them face to face, just contact them first of all and say, arrange to meet. Is this a suitable time? That will help the timing. And the how is important. Be non-judgmental. If you've got something you're picking up on a fault with, don't be judgmental. Don't say you did that wrong. How can we do it better? Is a much better way of doing it, so as not to upset them or offend them or make matters worse. If you follow those rules, guidelines, it will help with your worry. If they then worry on that, that's sort of, I hate to say it, but their problem. That's another issue. This is to help you stop worrying about the situation you're in. You're not passing it on to somebody else, but you're dealing with your worry. And by following the who, where, why, what, when, how will help you. So if you've already made that call and things have gone really bad and you're worrying about, oh, I offended them, things have gone wrong, they're going to tell somebody else and I'm going to get into trouble, all that fretting and worrying, again, you separate the facts from the feelings, and that helps instantly. But follow up from that, sit down and reflect on it. And again, learn from it, pick out the learnings and how you can do it better next time. If you think you're worrying because you've offended somebody, you're thinking, is it fact or is it fiction? You don't know. Find out, contact them again and ask, how are you feeling about that? Do you think it went well? It takes a bit of courage, a bit of assertiveness, But doing something about the worry is much better than just letting it fester, because that will affect the rest of your day, the rest of your week. It can ruin your weekend if it happens on a Friday, and it can affect your working week if something happens at home at the weekend. So don't worry, do something about it, and well, let me know if you get on. That's it for today. I think I've contacted, yeah, any individual help that you want. This has been very general. Give me a call on ivywork-life-balance-coaching.co.uk, and perhaps, hopefully, see you next week. Thank you.